Attended Twilight in concert at the Dr. Phillips Center, and I wanted to talk about the Dr. Phillips Center. I oftentimes feel like, I don't know, like kind of a butthole or kind of a jerk, because typically when I'm talking about accessibility, it's when like accessibility goes wrong, and oftentimes it has for me. And I've shared that a lot, and I get a lot of polarizing views, and a lot of people are like really upset or upset at me for some reason. It's like a weird dichotomized comment section that I've just like said I can't read anymore. Anyway, but going to the Dr. Phillips Center, again, I've been talking about my experience at like theme parks and the accommodations I received, like, but when I went there, for the first time going out in a long time to like do an event, I left feeling like happy and not just like overwhelmed and depleted, because I spent like the whole night trying to basically survive, like try to find an accessible restroom challenge, try to do this challenge. No, the Dr. Phillips Center made it incredibly easy. So I'll talk a little bit about them that I learned since then. So they have some like autism accreditations, and I'll say, so my kiddo had their over the ear headphones, which I don't know if you're like noise sensitive, you're going to Twilight concert also, maybe do that. I thought I grabbed my loops, but I didn't. But they did tell us, because they saw that they had it, that if any of us needed noise canceling headphones, they have those at like the customer service desk or something. I don't remember exactly where this person said they were, but they have them. My spouse also told me that they have like fidgets. They have like a lot of really accommodating things, which I was like, oh my goodness. And so I'm somebody who's attending in a wheelchair, and I'm kind of used to it being like, awful. But from like the valet to the seat to the show, everything was incredibly accessible. There was even, and I mean, when I say this, it's like you don't see a lot of people working in wheelchairs or like out and about in wheelchairs, but there were even people that were like employed in wheelchairs, and that also gives me a comforting feeling. I noticed that there was a lot of accessibility things, right, that went right for me, right? So they were really good at the valet. At the end of the valet, they also pulled it so it was easier for the wheelchair to come in and out and stuff like that. Like they did a really good job. They were really kind. We went in. They flagged me and my family right away to go through. There's like a separate entrance I had to go to, because I think there's like steps or something. I don't know. Anyway, so they took me through that way. They were really nice to me. It worked with me really well. Again, before we contacted them because they said there was like food in the theater, and we're like, oh, like what food? Because I'm allergic to everything. And so they're like, well, like, let me get back to you. They were like so receptive. We called them multiple times, like sweet baby blessings. They were so kind and like had answers to all of our questions. And so they couldn't like, and all of it really I couldn't eat. And so it was a good thing. It's like not real food, but like, I don't know, you're there for like 5 hours. I wanted a little treaty. And so I don't even think the gummy worms were like gluten-free safe for me. So they like sent me like a letter I could have basically like on my phone, that if anyone was like, why do you have outside food, I could be like, because like my food allergy. So I was accommodated with my food allergy, bringing outside food in, which was delightful perk. I did learn, so there I went to the Walt Disney Theater. There's so many theaters I've never been. This is all like new to me, honestly. Downtown Orlando is like kind of unexplored territory for me. But oh my gosh, somebody's mowing the lawn again, so I hope you guys don't hear that. But I ended up using two bathrooms while I was there, and I found that one was like the accessibility icon of the place, and the other one was eh. So we're in the Walt Disney Theater, and there's one that's like left of the Walt Disney Theater. The door is significantly lighter, and they have like full-sized accessibility stalls. I think maybe two, at least one. Fully stocked, the sinks were clean, everything was clean. Loved it. After I just went to like the Wawa up the street, and I saw some horrors I can never unsee, okay? But the one bathroom, there's like one, I don't even know, it's like catty corner, and it was over where the birch table was. this night. And it was just tucked very much in the corner, like if you were the Walt Disney Theater, there's a couple more theaters, and then it's like all the way in the corner. That one that I found and used, there also was like a one that should have been like an accessible restroom that seemed locked, but I wasn't sure if every time I was catching it, somebody was in there, like it was like one of the bigger restrooms. I couldn't figure it out. But the other restroom had a super heavy door, and so I go in there in my wheelchair, and they have bathroom attendants, which is like, you know, beyond things that like I typically deal with. Okay. But she opens one of the bathroom doors, and it does have the accessibility railings, and she's like, can you fit? And it's like a regular stall sized. And every time like an employee or somebody like asks me something like that, I'm like, you know, I'll give it a college try. I'll give it a go. You know, I might get stuck, but let's give it a go. And I did, and it did technically fit. I was like trying to scoot around and like step over like the thing. It was incredibly difficult to go to the bathroom. Like if the bars weren't there, I don't even think I could have used it at all. It was fine. It worked. It was, but I learned very quickly that there was a much more accessible restroom. And maybe if I asked, they would have been able to tell me. But, you know, I don't know. You don't see very many people. Like, a lot of people get upset when I'm, like, talking negatively about places, like, they just don't go. Okay, but, like, if, like, no disabled person goes and, like, talks about it, and, like, anybody else that's like planning a trip forever then on out, like, will never really know kind of the experience. But I had a very pleasant experience as somebody who's in a wheelchair, who is autistic. Didn't use any of their amenities they had, but I appreciated that they were there, and I appreciated that they offered it to us all. Like, that's very inclusive and very understanding. Everything was great. Our seats also, I worry about that when I buy, like, so they helped us buy them on the phone, the accessibility seats, and they were like really good seats. Like, there weren't like any like the fancy ones, but I did see that there is like lifts you could get into the fancy ones. But ours wasn't like any of like the fancy things, but it was like a direct shot in. It was a fabulous spot, honestly. We had a neighbor, and then they left, that also was in a wheelchair. I was like, slay queen, and then they were gone. So I was like, my friend, where did you go? Yeah, it was lovely. Honestly, it was so accessible and fantastic that it like also makes me question some of these other like accessible places, because it was so accessible, if that makes sense. Like, it blew my mind accessibly, I guess. It was fantastic. Like, I usually come on here and I'm like, okay guys, like, this place is not great, but Dr. Phillips Center, icons, legends. I will be back. I was already looking at a couple other shows that are upcoming. But yeah, like, I'm tired of just like being like a central, like a Floridian, like just relying on like what the theme parks provide. And while it used to almost be like a gold standard, it certainly isn't anymore. But what I experienced at the Dr. Phillips Center, put like even them at their gold standard, I feel like, to shame. It was fantastic. 10 out of 10 for everybody that was working, and the entire event and everything in terms of accessibility. Great. I don't know, again, accommodated for my food allergy, accommodated for my wheelchair. They offered further accommodations for us. Really, I could not have asked, like, they gave me more than I could have requested. They anticipated my needs, which was like, nobody does that. So again, I don't know if anyone will watch all the way through. This is a longer video, or if anyone from the Dr. Phillips Center will ever see this, but I intend to like write an email or something and just be like, look, like, I'm used to some wild experiences, and like, yours was quite the opposite, and thank you so much. Like, yeah, like 10 out of 10 if you're disabled and you're looking at attending an event at the Dr. Phillips Center, do so. Make sure you do, because I think there was some issue with somebody with like, you have to request the seat removal if you want to have your wheelchair in lieu of a seat. That you can also transfer. That's also an option in certain areas and certain rows. But yeah, I don't know. And so accessible, like, I could just go on all day about it. Like, what? This never happens. And unfortunately, because I'm saying something nice about someplace, it probably won't be seen by that many people, which is just the name of the game. If you complain, like, TikTok's like, everybody wants to see this. But if something's good, nobody will see this. Dr. Phillips Center's you'll forever be iconic to me. Also, the little skeletons outside, loved. Everything was so cute. I had such a good time downtown. I never go out because of like accessibility, a bunch of other things. but I will be going out again.